All right, folks. Tough loss for the Raptors last night in Los Angeles. Did a terrific job coming back. And by the way, if you're looking at us and saying, we saw the guys wearing the same suits when the game was starting and players were walking by, we are, because it is 2:25 Pacific time, which means some of you that are going to work early on Saturday morning are about to get up very, very soon.
Yep.
And nothing's going to change, right? Between now, there's no game day shoot.
No game. Listen, it's as you say, it's 2:25. It's 5:25 Eastern, but chances are this isn't posted till. I'm guessing I'm going to get maybe 6 hours, maybe 7 if I'm lucky. So I'm probably posting this at 9:30 Pacific, so not till noon Eastern. So many of you have already had half your day, but the Raptors aren't shooting around. There's no game day shoot around. There's no game day practice, which is normally the case on a back-to-back, on the second half of a back-to-back. So nothing has changed between right now, when it's noon that you're watching this, versus 5:30 Eastern when we're actually recording this. Well, does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, and here's the thing. We were told in L.A. by Jim Clemens, one of the assistant coaches, who's been with Phil Jackson for 10 of his 12 rings or something like that. He said because Portland plays the Lakers next, that's the Lakers' next opponent as well. He was saying, oh, you guys got a back to Portland. That means they come into us with a back-to-back. Hey, take them to triple overtime or something. And he said that's a tough back-to-back. And it was. I mean, and it's I guess it's the inglamorous part of, we just came upstairs dragging your bag through the hotel lobby at 2:30 after a 2-hour flight, and we're not even playing. So we're not complaining. We're just stating facts. So that's the way it goes. Look, the one update I guess we can give you is Sonny Weems did not play in the second half. You might have heard Jay Triano say in the post-game news conference that his knee, his tendonitis acted up, hence all the minutes for Julian Wright, who I think did a pretty good job. Sonny did say kind of casually in the locker room when somebody said, you're going to be able to go tomorrow night, he said, I think so. So that's the only thing that we'll have to keep an eye on.
And I was surprised by that as well, because I didn't, I don't know if you did, Jonesy, but I hadn't heard that.
We didn't get a report.
Well, not only a report during the game, but even just leading up to this,
Yeah.
I didn't know that he was having any kind of lingering issue with the knee or anything. I actually thought, just my gut was that maybe he was, for lack of a better term, maybe benched in the second half for some of his shot selection in the first half, because he definitely was a little bit hungry. He had some sticky fingers there in the first half of the ball game. But I guess that's good news. I know it sounds kind of weird to say. Maybe good news that actually he is dealing with some sort of an injury, and not the fact that he'd been benched or that he's in the doghouse with the coach or anything like that. And if it's just a slight little tweak or something, and he's able to go against Portland, good. But either way, Julian Wright did show us a little something, and we talked about it during our broadcast. The fact that Jay Triano has said that he will continue to reward guys that work hard, whether it be in practice or during the games themselves. And I obviously, Julian is one of those guys that's on that first bus. Not the first. There's two buses that go to the games. There's the first bus, there's the second bus, but then there's the first bus, and it's actually more like a minivan or a cab that takes over some of the players before, and they work out with Alvin Williams and Eric Hughes well before the game. And Julian Wright and Ed Davis and Solomon Alabi have been those three mainstays in that crew. Joey Dorsey's been going over early.
The Breakfast Club.
In fact, Reggie Evans has been going over early a couple of times in the first 5 games of the season. So obviously that extra work paying off for Julian Wright, and he looked pretty good against the Lakers.
He did. He's an energy type guy, and he brought that energy, made a couple of nice plays, pure hustle plays, and that's the way this team's going to have to play. You heard Shannon Brown say in the interview when we asked him if Toronto snuck up on them, did you guys get more than you bargained for? He said, no, we knew that they're an energy type team. They got a lot of young, talented players, and it was a game, and Toronto should be proud of that. Yet at the same time, no moral victories, and they still sit at 1-4, having lost 3 in a row, with a tough Portland team that's going to be very ornery after losing on national TV to Oklahoma City on Thursday night.
3 of those 4 losses, again, you play the whole woulda, coulda, shoulda. I don't know if you're going to knock off the 2-time defending champs, but 3 of the 4 losses for the Raptors, 5, 5, and 3. The point differential in terms of the losses. Now they had obviously the 17-point loss to the Utah Jazz, but 3 of the 4 losses coming by 5 or under. So that one definitely stings, but at some point you got to get that first win on the road, and now you start looking ahead and say, okay, Portland on the back-to-back, a team that's obviously got a lot of talent in spite of their injuries. Now at the end of the road trip of the loss, you come home. The Raptors aren't flying on the red eye, so they're going to fly early Sunday. Probably take off around 9 a.m. Pacific, which is noon Eastern. By the time they land, it's 5:30 Eastern. They're going to get, hopefully a decent rest on Sunday night, but they're going to go to bed at midnight when it's going to feel like 9 because they've been in the Pacific time zone for the last 6-7 days. They're going to get up on a game day on Monday against Golden State, an up and down team. And then you got Charlotte coming to town on Wednesday before you hit the road again for another 4. I mean, this is a nasty schedule to start the year.
Well, and I would say this: the Golden State game on Monday, it's a road game at home because it's a travel, and you're not really acclimated. The Raptors have a history. As a matter of fact, most Eastern teams have a history of a very poor record the first game back
after West
Coast trip. So we'll be watching that one. But let's hope the Raptors can muster some effort and get out there and work hard tomorrow night against Portland. And you never know. Portland, when was the last time they dropped 2 in a row at home? Probably doesn't happen, but regularly. But at the same time, Toronto gave LA all they could handle. After a slow start in Utah, they were in it till the fourth quarter kind of got away from them. They led by 17 against Sacramento. One of these times they're going to get over the hump on the road.
Well, hopefully it's in Portland because that would be a huge win, and it'd be nice to kind of head home with a victory for the Raptors, no doubt about it, and I'm sure for the fans as well. It's the moral victories are probably starting to mean less and less for the fans as well in terms of just wanting to get that first victory and on the road, I should say, and kind of break the schneid before heading home. So we're gonna end it here. And again, it's coming up to about 2:30 Pacific now, so gonna hit the sack and enjoy an off day, I suppose, on Saturday for at least a few hours. Hopefully sleep in a little bit and then hit the airwaves. We've got interviews coming up on the pregame show
some good stuff
on Saturday night. I guess I should say tonight. Gordon Chiesa, longtime assistant with the Utah Jazz, longtime NBA assistant. He was with the Nets as well. He's been with a number of teams.
Memphis,
Memphis. He's going to join us on the pregame show, and he's actually got a new job with the NBA D-League, so we'll talk to him about that. Also, Jonesy one-on-one with David Anderson, Jack Armstrong, plus much more to come on the pregame show. That's at 9:30, the tip-off right after 10 o'clock Eastern.
And before we go, one of our favorite arenas.
Unbelievable.
I know that we're at a high broadcast location, but this crowd is terrific. They know their basketball. They love their team. They support it, and we're in for a good one tomorrow night.